Yeah, the new M4, the G82.
Yeah, he's a huge car guy.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a car guy too.
And a UFC guy.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll talk.
We gotta talk. Let's start this episode because the episode will never start.
It will never start. No.
We'll just talk about cars all day.
Yeah. No, listen, why not?
Last one to the airport buys breakfast. Day one. We got Big Berto in the building.
Big Berto, man.
AKA Lorenzo Tejada.
Yes, sir.
He's here, baby.
Listen.
Thank
one
you,
we all
gents.
fear. I ain't gonna lie. I'm scared of Lorenzo. I'm scared of him. I ain't gonna lie.
Bro, the first scene I ever watched him do was when, so we were shooting outside of the prison because we shot in a real prison.
Yeah.
Like they were legitimately going up the elevator with inmates, and I was like, this is wild.
Yeah.
You had this scene where you put Kane's face against the wall and then you scraped it.
Yeah. Kane had to get beat up that day.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that, I didn't do the beating up, but it was like, that whole concept of him having to come in afterwards and see his son. I won't lie, that was I had some good moments in the back, and I'll always remember meeting Woody on the way to set in the van, and that conversation will live in my mind forever because it was like. We were just trying to prepare with the very little time that we had, but it was impactful.
That was the first time you met him?
That was the first time we met. It was on the way to shoot that one. Yeah. And so, it was like, hey, how you doing? Introducing yourselves while at the same time.
Hi, you're my son.
Yeah, you're my son. And in 20 minutes, we're about to dive into. Yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass, and we're gonna dive into some real emotional stuff. But yeah, man, it's been a blessing. What can I say? It's. Things like that kind of, my whole career has always been about the one moment that started out very small and then somehow, turned into something more.
Right.
And, that was one of those moments starting out in my journey on this power world and the ghost world. So
I love that so much. And you are a loved / hated character, but if people respond to you, you're doing something right.
Whether they hate you or love you, if they respond to you, it's still love at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
And that's coming from the OG.
That's the OG. That's a huge compliment.
Of hate.
Yeah, no, listen, it's about the truth, It's not to get too, mushy or like a little, too weird about it, but it really is just about being as truthful and, having the most integrity possible.
Right.
And whether it's the good, bad guy, indifferent, co-star, guest star, whatever it is, man, you just have to kind of go out there and put out the absolute truth every time.
Right. Listen, everybody knows on this podcast I could talk about acting for hours because there's nothing I love more in the world.
You do dive into it, man. I do appreciate that.
But sometimes people get bored. That's why I like to go on other stuff. But I did want to say that scene where I watched you when you bent down, I was at the monitor. And I was like, wow. Like,
Thank you.
The power that you bring without actually doing much is it's incredible.
Thank you.
And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's your look, your voice, everything combined. But I'm a huge fan of your work. And I just want to say, I'm so excited to have you here, and I'm just glad that we've crossed paths and we're on this journey together now. So
myself, and I appreciate the kind words, man. I honestly think that it's been a long journey, and I think that the whole time is always, and I know you love it, so I won't say it anymore.
Do.
It's okay. It never really has been about anything else other than just being completely fucking honest.
Right.
Everyone has their opportunity to create their brand and be the artist that they want to be. That's fine, and I'm not in judgment of anyone, but I think that at the core of what we do, the real truth of it is that you just have to be completely honest.
Right.
And that was a character that is strange to me, but the connection between those two human beings is not strange to any of us.
Right.
And that's a father-son relationship. We do know what that's about.
How that goes.
We all know how that goes. Whether you have him your whole life or whether you have him
half of your life.
Half of your life, it doesn't matter.
Right.
That is a intimate connection that starts. Like I remember vividly, like sticking my little finger in the little. My daughter had to be put in a box in the beginning, whatever they call that little incubator, whatever. And I stuck my finger out, man, and then she squeezed it. She squeezed it hard, with her eyes closed, bro. Like that is a connection that there's nothing either one. Nobody can do anything about. That just happens.
Can't even explain that.
No, you can't even explain it. It's inexplicable. But I, in that conversation to the set that day, that's what Woody and I honed in on. And so I just told him, like, man, look, this is about me convincing you about something. But you're gonna walk out the door, and I don't, Lorenzo doesn't live with any of you guys.
Right.
The strength that the only time I have any kind of power over you is in here, and that's pseudo power because I'm not there to enforce any of it. I have to, Lorenzo has to leave enough of an impression where you're gonna want to go out and do that.
Right.
And I think that's
interesting.
That's a difficult job.
That's a difficult job. And the entire up until the moment, in season 2 when he comes out, that's everything that I did in this. Everything how I prepared for the show was with that idea and that concept in mind. Is that you can't enforce anything you do here, man.
Right?
You can't. You can't hold anybody accountable. You just got to hope that they do what you say.
Right. So what was your first episode?
Number 4, and it was the meeting with one of the kids. It was actually, if I recall correctly, also a scene with Woody. Well, actually, that was number 6 because that was Eve directing. So I think it was 3 or 4.
Yeah, Eve directed 6.
And
maybe it was LaToya, maybe?
So it was LaToya, and it was with the kids, and then it was also a couple of scenes with Mary visiting the jail.
Right.
Or Monet visiting the jail. Sorry. Monet, sorry.
We got it. We do it.
Monet visiting the jail. So, and it started out just, like a, this person is in jail, and he's the husband, like a peripheral character, and then thankfully, Mark, 50, and Courtney, and everyone, thank you. The powers that be allowed him to become a series regular in the 2nd season. So,
yes.
So it's fucking,
which was a great,
life-changing.
Great,
right?
As I've heard you say a bunch of times, it is you change. I remember one of the readings that we did. One of the table reads, virtual ones. When Courtney was. You told us, you changed my life. I don't even know what to say. You was like, you were just in your moment. You were like, you changed my life.
There's nothing else I could have said in that moment. It's just like, you did this much for me. You changed my life.
You changed my life.
Like, that's literally all that needs to be said. You changed my life.
I'm sure the sentiment was felt all around that virtual room because she has for all of us.
Yeah.
This journey certainly has for all of us. So.
We got like 2 Crew Has It prototype bags, like duffel bags, and Michael had one and I had one, and Courtney came over to our house in LA, and she was like, "Oh, I want one of those bags," and I was like, "Just take mine," and I gave it to her. She was like, "No." I was like, "You don't have to do that." I was like, "You didn't have to change my life." She was like, "On that note, I'll take the bag."
It's yours when you came in.
Right.
It's yours already. Yeah.
Courtney, anything you want?
Anything you want, it's yours.
Literally though, like.
Yeah.
You don't even gotta ask.
You just open my fridge, come in, grab whatever you want, it's yours.
Take what you want.
That's gratitude, man. It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's amazing, man. What an opportunity. That's how it goes for us, right? You spend, decades.
Yeah.
I know people
Damn near
that
a decade,
spend couple decades, myself included, and then suddenly, boom.
Right.
Suddenly there you are. And that's almost as hard as, being ready for that moment is almost as hard as like all the attempts that you try to get to that moment.
Right.
Because then you gotta.
Because it always hits you when you least expect it. It's like,
and you can't be titty tatting, and you can't be bullshitting around. You got to show up at that moment. So all those years of that work should be evident. The first fucking 10 seconds of your work, it should just come out.
Right.
Even if you're like a little. You get another take. But even if you're if you overdid it, you can do it again. But at least let all that shit out because it's fuel, man.
It'll get there.
It'll get there. It's fuel for fire.
You go far, you go low.
Yeah.
You'll find a sweet spot a couple takes in. Listen, we know it's Halloween, but we don't want you to have any werewolf situation going on down there.
Yeah, listen, you can't be looking spooky down there.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
You can't have patches on your pumpkins, if you know what I'm talking about. That's hair in your balls. Mike, have you ever tried to shave your balls and it turned into a Freddy Krueger film?
I mean,
Just me? Okay, cool. I got a lot of stuff going on down there because I didn't have Manscaped.
But now, we smooth, baby.
Yeah.
Even though it's not a smooth sack summer, we still carrying the smooth sacks into the fall. We're not
It's
playing
like
around.
Scream, baby. That knife just goes in and comes right out clean.
Listen, man, we trying to avoid the tricks and have more treats. So this is what you're going to do.
Wait, I want some tricks over here. Oh, we talking about a different thing. Go on, Mike.
But listen, you want more treats? You get that Performance Pack 4.0. I mean, you can't lose with it. You can't lose. All right, so now for those that don't know, what does the Performance Pack 4.0 consist of?
It's got the crop preserver, Mike. It's got the crop reviver.
Bring
it's
that
got
shit back
the
to
crop
life.
duster. I made that last one up. It's got the first two, though. I'm the crop duster in here.
Okay, but you know what is real? They did just release a new body buffer. Whatever the so it's a 100% antibacterial body scrub. You know what I'm saying? You could exfoliate. You know what I'm saying? Get the skin smooth. You know, you got to get that shit smooth.
I have always wanted to be just a hairless boy, just no hair on me. You know what I mean?
Now listen, you know how it goes. You want that 20% off? You want that free shipping? Go to manscaped.com and use the promo code CREW.
Use the promo code CREW. Come on. It's
Support the boys.
Halloween, okay? We want scary stuff happening. We don't want you to look at your cart and go, oh, that's scary.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
My bank account's scary. That's not going to happen. 20% off, promo code.
And no shipping, baby. Promo code CREW, CREW. Simple as that.
Simple
now
as
back to
that.
the episode, baby.
So where did you start? Like, I want to know, like, because I really don't know. Like, we've had a ton of conversations.
Yeah.
Cars, this and that. But, like, we really haven't sat on set and talked about, like, your journey, which is why me and Mike started this podcast, because we want to, like, get to know you guys, and the fans do as well. So, like, I want to hear it.
Well, I mean, listen, it started like in typical fashion. In college, I went to Fordham University, and
No way, you
played
went to Fordham.
Yes.
You play football?
Yeah.
One of my closest cousins actually went to Fordham, too.
Is he there now? Or
Nah, he's not there no more. Eli went to Fordham.
Oh,
yeah, Eli went to Fordham.
Rose Hill, or did he go to Lincoln Center?
I'm not sure exactly. I think it was Lincoln Center, though.
In the city.
He
in the
took one
city.
class.
No. He went to the one in
The Bronx.
In the Bronx.
Rose Hill.
Yeah, he went to the one in the Bronx.
Same. So yeah, look at that. Small world. And we also have Orange. You didn't know that we did Orange together. Orange is the New Black. You played and I played Orange is the New Black.
What the?
Yeah, he was in Orange is the New Black.
That's crazy. Yeah, I played Michael. I played the son.
Yes, you played the
It's so
son.
funny. We literally went to a Ranger.
You played Michael.
Yeah. We went to a Ranger game like 3-4 months ago.
Oh,
and,
yeah, we
like
met
one of the
someone
girls
from
who's like the leads of the show.
Yeah.
She was like in the room downstairs with us, and they were talking about Power, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm on Orange is the New Black," and Michael's like, "Yeah, I was on that too," and I'm like, he's just so like nonchalant about it. He's like, "Yeah, I think I did a couple episodes of that show too," and she's like, "What episodes did you do?" He's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it's this character." She's like, "Oh yeah." He's just like
Laverne's
so
son.
nonchalant.
Yeah.
It speaks to the journey that a lot of us have had, and a lot of like pretty groundbreaking. I've been on some really groundbreaking stuff.
Right.
Orange being one of them. And
Orange
the
was
fact that
just
we have
fucking
that.
insane.
I mean,
That was
Netflix.
insane.
Netflix is not Netflix without
Orange.
Lilyhammer, Orange is the New Black, and there was a third one there.
House of Cards.
House of Cards.
Hell yeah, nah,
You
yeah,
met- that
that's-
was the beginning. In fact,
Is Lilyhammer good?
yeah, dude,
I
that
wanna
was a
watch
great
it.
series.
'Cause
Van
I
Sant
love
is in
European
that
shows.
film. I mean, in that series, incredible.
Yeah.
So like
okay.
the language and everything is European. or-
That's an American language show, if I'm mistaken.
Well, it was a remake of I believe, a European show, but the series. I'm sorry. No, you're absolutely right. Scratch that. Please eliminate that.
That's an American show.
That's an American.
But I watch a ton of foreign. I started
Yeah.
one last night.
Well-
It's a Norwegian like crime murder mystery. I love those for some reason.
No.
Bro, you gotta
they-
start sending me the shit that you start watching. Like any new
Bro,
shit you watch.
everyone
send it to me,
watch
bro.
Snabba Cash on Netflix. It's like Power,
Yes.
but it's Swedish.
Yes.
Have you seen it? It's fucking incredible.
So Netflix hasn't just opened doors for like all this incredible content on the American side. Like you got to dive into like European
Right,
series.
that's the best stuff.
Spanish, Spain, stuff
Yep.
that's coming from Spain. Like this just straight
Like,
up.
isn't like Money Heist? Like isn't Money
Money
Heist?
Heist?
yeah,
Money
came
Heist,
from-
yes.
Because
yeah.
here's the
Brazil.
thing: we all have our American Breaking Bad. But all these countries have their own like incredible
And it's
stories that we don't
insane,
know.
Especially like the Spanish, like those fan bases are insane.
Right.
Yeah.
Bro. Like they're
Right.
unbreakable. Bro.
Yeah.
Like those fan bases, like even like the music artists, like Bad Bunny, like all those type of artists. Every one of their fan bases are incredible, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbeatable, bro.
I mean, I speak Spanish, so for me, like, it's like what you, like, when you get the sense of what the show is about from the actual work in Spanish. But if you don't speak the language and you get the point.
Right.
Like you see the work.
Right.
You have the subtitles or whatever, but you see it.
Yeah.
You know, like
You can hear it.
You can hear it. There's a sense of
I have to
tension,
watch
all
that
that.
with the original language. Like I have to watch it in Norwegian or Spanish or
Yes.
that, and then I'll watch it up because that's where the acting
I hate when
is.
it's dubbed. I hate when it's dubbed.
Yeah.
It's like different.
Well, you don't want to watch it dubbed. You'd rather have
Yeah,
subtitles
I'd rather have
every
subtitles
day,
and
and then you
actual-
watch the actual
Yeah.
voice, the original.
You
the
just match the
original.
subtitles to the voice.
I'm a voice in like 4 or 5 foreign Netflix shows.
Someone sent me.
Really?
Yeah.
Someone recently sent me Power from like South America and Power, and the voice is completely
it's crazy.
It's insane.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. So you started in college.
So I started in college
Yep.
Fordham U, and I had a couple of friends who basically, one of my best friends, Mark Rodriguez, he's the godfather to my first daughter. He was studying directing and filmmaking at SUNY Purchase.
Nice.
And you know, I played football, and I had an injury. My initial, in fact, I got recruited at high school injured already, which you know, I was kind of a badass.
What position you played?
So I did red shirt. I was a linebacker in high school, and then I became a strong safety and then running back. You know, but I should have just stayed.
I
on
played
defense.
safety as well when I used to play football.
Yeah. Great position, bro.
It's fun.
You just get to react and blow people up.
Yeah, and just fucking tackle people.
It is
literally.
the most, and it was right up my alley. This is what I needed. Free safety had to be a lot faster, you know, and corners are just corners and free safeties are the most incredible athletes.
That's the position my cousin Eli played.
Yeah?
He played corner. Yeah, he played DB.
The combination of speed and just pure speed and strength is something else. But anyway, strong safety, you just get to blow people up. And so I had an extra year, and all my electives towards the end. I had sort of already graduated my first major, and then I double majored in like communications and sort of film, and so that's what I kind of focused on my last semester of school, and my second half of the school year, my senior year, and so started kind of dipping my feet in the water, if you will, at that time. I actually wrote one of my electives was a filmmaking class and script writing class, and my final project was a small film, Final Scene on Friday, and I used my friends to shoot it, right, and shot it in Throg's Neck, up the street from my house.
That's fire.
That was my first initial, you know, diving into the work and diving into this world. And I won't bore you with a lot of details, but essentially I spent, a good while, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 years, kind of like finding out what this was about. And when you're in New York, you basically, you go down to Astor and you go down to Joe's Pub and you start to kind of mingle with people and you try to find off Broadway plays that you can get involved in. You, of course, start taking acting classes. You kind of start diving in. You start finding these small circles in the city, and it was no different for me. And that was the journey, And ironically enough, my first real job in the business was a commercial, and that's how I got my first agent.
That was AJ. Yeah.
And you, literally, our first jobs was commercial.
Honestly,
Do
it's
we
how a
have
lot
to
of
say
people
who's
start.
your commercial CESD by chance?
I don't think I have a commercial agency, but like that was literally my first.
That's the first
job. I did a commercial for Price Chopper.
So I did a Grolsch commercial that ended up even not panning out because it was a European contract or whatever. But that basically got me an introduction from the other person that had gotten cast who went on the call was a CESD client, and I got introduced, and I found out that one of the agents in there actually went to Fordham too. So there's always relationships involved, But the one who actually signed me was not a Fordham graduate, but just that's how it all started with that first commercial. I think I got my SAC card in 06 or 07. I graduated in 97, so there goes your first 10 years of just exploration and nose and walls but I had a lot of fun and a lot of off-Broadway stuff. So my beginning was all theater and small theater at that. A few little film projects, student films at NYU here and there, but it was essentially that was the beginning, and then slowly, you go through soap operas in New York, the one-liners or the under fives, and
SVUs, the Blue Bloods, Did you do SVU?
New York Undercover. I have not. That's the one, man. That's the Mr. Wolf. What's going on, man? No, I've tried, 100 times. Maybe more. It just hasn't panned out. But all the other ones, New York Undercover. I mean, it starts little by little, and then you get like the one thing that kind of puts you on the map. You find your agents. You kind of have to break through that. that is the most
pain, dude. It's the worst.
It's like I freelanced. I think I was freelancing with like maybe 3 different agents at the same time during some time, because it was like, oh, we like you, but we don't want to sign you. Just
Well, they hip pocket you.
They of course they keep you, but that's fine. Use me, I use you. I mean, you submitting me for something has more credentials than me submitting myself.
Right.
So play the game.
So you're doing theater around the city. You're living in New York?
Living in New York, always lived here, always, I travel. I did this thing years ago in California when I traveled for one of these shows that I won't mention because it was really weird because it was like more of a non-scripted kind of reality stuff that I kind of dove into.
Right.
But then after that, I came here, and it was time to kind of get serious. I kind of tasted a little bit of what a full production would be like.
Right.
I was sequestered for like a month. In that time, a lot of changes in my life. I found out my future wife at the time was not, but my future wife was pregnant, and I actually won this competition. So I came home with a little bit of cash.
Nice.
Kind of gave me a glimpse of possibilities. Like, man, I made little noise over here, and I can kind of continue to grow from this. So, and then after that came the real agent and the real manager and like the real calls. And like now you're seeing the director of an episode who's going to sit in like your callback at this time. Things like that. It was an evolution, and it took years, man. It just takes a long time.
Right. And then was your first like big notable thing like where you felt as if you're making an impact, was that Orange or?
I think Orange was definite. Orange is the New Black was the first kind of big platform that, and that was I think 2007 and 2008. And again, the same kind of deal.
Was that long ago?
Yeah, man.
That's fucking.
I did not know Netflix was around that long.
Well, I mean, maybe am I fucking up the dates? Not 2007. It was around. It was. My daughter.
2008, I think that's when Netflix started.
Yeah, 2008, my daughter was born, and shortly after that, maybe, you know what, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. I think this was around 2012 or 2013.
That's what I thought, yeah.
So 2008 is when I did that other show in California.
Yeah, 12 is when Netflix.
12 is when it started, 12 and 13. And so, between 2008 and 2012 was 4 years of, like, all that soap and all those, like,
What soap did you do? What was it?
Oh, my God, dude, all of them. All My Children, I did, I don't even know the fucking names anymore, but I basically did like 4 or 5 different soap operas and
nice. Were they guest
everything that shoots here? There's one that I think what's the one that shoots in Brooklyn. There's one that's the studio in Brooklyn. I forget.
In Brooklyn.
I don't know what.
There's a studio in Brooklyn. Yeah.
I know in LA it's like Days of Our Lives, General Hospital.
Those are the West Coast. But basically, there's 3 or 4 main staples here. I'm sorry.
Guiding Light, is that one of them?
Guiding Light and All My Children, and then there was another one, Days of Our Lives.
Yeah, that Days of Our Lives is L.A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then
and Young and the Rest is LA.
Then I just forgot. But it was, it's just part of the journey of the New York actor. I see it, and then I joined Labyrinth for like I remember I was taking all those the Labyrinth theater. I did a lot of work there.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 summers, 2 or 3 different intensives and whatnot. I did some small showcases all over the place. I studied with like 3 different people in New York, and then this opportunity shows up, and basically we weren't told what it was. Essentially, it's like, a new streaming service is doing the show, and
yes, you had no idea how big it was going to be.
No, you just go in and it's an audition for this, and a year later, Orange is the New Black.
What up, y'all? How you doing? It's Gianni. I am out here in Europe right now. Obviously, I'm not in the regular studio. Michael's in Jamaica. But I wanted to take a quick second to talk to you about our friends over at ShipStation. They are a new sponsor for the podcast, and we're super excited. If you have a side hustle, if you have a main hustle, if you have any type of hustle, ShipStation is the place for you, okay? You could sell merch. You could sell pretty much anything except, it's not like Course Craig, it's a little different than that, but I do want to say that it integrates with everything. It integrates with eBay, Amazon, Shopify. It makes you easier to manage your own store with minimal effort. So make sure you go to www.shipstation.com, use the promo code The Crew. You can be your own boss. Could you imagine? You can set up your own site with everything. It's so easy nowadays, okay? There's no more GoDaddy this, GoDaddy that. You don't got to go to all these stores. You don't got to talk to all the people. You can do it all yourself, okay? And trust me, I see all the guys reaching out to me. They have clothing lines. They have merch. They want me to try all this stuff. Download ShipStation, sell it online, send me the link, and me and Michael check it out. We'll see how it looks. So make sure you use the promo code The Crew. Again, that's ShipStation.com. Use the promo code The Crew, and you get free 60-day trial. Back to the episode.
So simultaneously, your wife has a kid.
Yeah, so simultaneously at the same time, I'm trying to be a husband. I'm bartending.
But that's what I was curious because
like a maniac.
I catered. I catered. I waited the table.
I got really lucky. I got into the club scene in New York and I got to work some really intense like nightclubs and like Avalon.
Right.
Hudson Terrace.
It's okay. Michael does this every episode where he eats in the middle of the episode, so don't mind.
No, it's okay. Chick-fil-A. I spent a lot of time doing the nightlife, and that kind of, I made good money.
Right.
I made
you made good money.
I made good money. I was sustaining a family at the time.
Right.
We bought a house in 2010. And there's, you got to make ends meet. My wife, who has she's an absolute saint for putting up with all this stuff for all these years. She obviously has. She's an attorney and a lawyer. Went to school.
Oh, nice.
She also went to Fordham and went to Albany Law. And between the two of us, we make it work. We made it work. And she, extremely patient, as you know. This is a very selfish career that we're all in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'd say
100%.
so.
Not directly, but indirectly, we do ask a lot of other people.
Right.
We put them in terrible positions at times.
Do. Right. And it's not even like we mean to, but it's just like sometimes
that's a business.
We need
You're so focused on your goal, and it's like you're diving in. It's like, okay, well, I am actually forgetting about this person's dreams and ideas and hopes that they have for me,
right,
or for us together, and I'm actually kind of excluding this person from this plan that I'm pursuing right now myself. It could be very. You have to be very clear how you communicate with your partners when you're doing this process.
Does she read tapes with you or no?
Oh, dude, one of those. We could probably get divorced over one of those, or two or three of those. It is terrible to read with a partner.
I've heard that before.
Oh, dude. And if they're not in the business,
it's over.
Do not read with a partner.
That's like me trying to read a tape with like fucking Eli. It just won't work.
It won't work. I think that you have to be listen, I'll tell you this. It's worked. We've made it work. We've gotten used to the self-tapes when there's no other option.
Right.
And, I have to say that, honestly, the stuff that I'm reading for now is like a little bit more like intense and higher level shit.
Because they know you're...
And knowing that...
Yeah.
Takes you out of the bullshit.
Right.
Like, well, maybe this is not my partner for the next hour.
Right.
Right. Maybe I don't know this person. Because it does kind of take a little bit of diving.
Yeah.
You kind of have to dive and leave this world.
You got to become a person.
You got to be somebody else, but it's hard when you're telling them out. You got to make sure you frame from the head to the navel.
I'm trying.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's really hard. Listen, I for the first time in a long time, I actually had my first audition 3 weeks ago with the casting director, but it was still.
God.
But I gotta say, it's a double-edged sword now.
That fucking catching me for power.
Right.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, Mike, because now we've gotten used to the self-tape.
Just having time to really correct yourself.
Here's the thing: in those self-tapes, before you submit them, I'm sure you do. You can watch and you can discuss with a manager or discuss with an agent what you think is best. And now I didn't have that, so now. All that crazy insecurity and all that crazy shit that you learned to overcome years ago when you had to walk in there, now
that shit is right
kind of came back.
I literally had my first reading with a casting director about 3 weeks ago as well. I'm like, yo, this shit is kind of nerve-wracking. You're
used to. You're in a position now where it's like you get it. You almost you have the luxury to kind of have an immediate response from your team, but you have a team of people that can, and they're not going to steer you wrong.
Right.
Now it's like, here you go.
Yes, and what's crazy? It was the same lady that casted me for Power. It was the same lady I read with for Power.
Wow.
And she was like, hey, I'm Vicky Thomas. I said, whoa.
Yeah.
And that shit kind of had me a little nervous. At first, when I heard the name, I'm like, okay, she knows me. So I'm like, all right, I'm a little comfortable. And then I'm like, wait, no. Nah, I'm not the same 12-year-old she got.
Yes, I was literally a child. This is 11 years later.
It's different. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that kind of hit me in the head.
Yeah.
What the hell?
So you went in and read, and
no, we read virtual, but it was but it was the same thing. You're in a virtual room, whatever.
And that's the movie you just booked?
No, so the movie I just booked was actually a relationship, and when I did Satos with Rosalind Sanchez about a year and a half ago in Puerto Rico. Small short, did really well. Essentially, the story everyone knows, Puerto Rico has an epidemic of like stray dogs. We call them satos.
Yep.
And that was sort of like one of the main lines of the short I did. And so a producer from that film
Nice.
reached out, and we're now going to Serbia.
That's why you do those things.
Yeah, you have to do the good ones.
Right.
You have to do the good ones because, at the end of the day, auditioning, small, big, keep working,
Right.
man. Keep developing,
Right.
keep exploring. You get better. You get better, man. Practice.
Build
It's
relationships.
it's the athlete in me, man. I used to man. There's stories that my mom used to tell me about. I used to go to sleep with my equipment, man. It's like,
Right.
who the hell fucking put on shoulder pads and go to sleep with shoulder pads and thigh pads? But it was just
That
the
dedication.
feeling of being immersed in something.
Right.
You know?
100%.
And when you have that fucking equipment on, it's like, man, I'm gonna light some motherfuckers up. It's like the license, you know what I mean? It's the license.
Tackle someone on Fifth
Ah,
Ave.
dude, yeah, exactly. As I'm laying down, I'm just gonna go up. No, it's I believe in all that. Those small details do have you pay your
They have
dues.
an impact.
They have an impact.
So then you do Orange is the New Black. Then is Power the next?
So it's Orange is the New Black. Show Me a Hero with David Simon. I went to Puerto Rico and shot that.
Oh, David Simon, he's fucking.
So check this out. On the final day of shooting, David Simon, my father, and my brother in the hot tub in some hotel in Puerto Rico. And they're not paying me, so I'm not going to mention their names. It's a really nice hotel. But,
Nice, I
just
like that.
shooting the shit, bro, with David Simon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And introducing my father. It's like, hey, I came to do a project in Puerto Rico, one of the biggest writers, producers of
of all time.
American TV.
Right.
The Wire. Have you heard of The Wire? My father's like, nah, man, yo no sé qué es eso, tú sabes. Yo, ese tipo se ve que es un jodón. The guy did not have any idea who he was, but it didn't matter, bro, because 5 minutes into it, couple of shots, we were all gravy. We were all good. But that was a great series. That was amazing.
Oh yeah, The Wire is incredible.
And then I would have to say, When They See Us with Ava DuVernay, when I got cast in that. And that was a long process. But in fact, coming into this world.
Wait, what was the series you did with David Simon?
That one was called Show Me a Hero.
Show Me a Hero, right. And that was on what channel?
That was, I believe, that was HBO.
Oh, HBO. Dope.
Yeah,
Dope.
That's HBO.
Nice.
Everything he does is usually
Yeah,
with
HBO.
HBO.
Yeah.
But then a few things here and there, and then When They See Us, the Central Park 5 story, and Ava DuVernay, and getting cast in that, bro.
What?
Ironically enough, for me as a person, I moved to New York in that time.
Right.
And I vividly remember the sentiments of, I grew up in Throgs Neck in the Bronx. And you go one block, the feeling was, fuck them. You go another block, a different neighborhood, different set of people. It's like, like, that's so unfair. They're it's like, depending on
Right.
Where you are.
if you're white, black, whoever you are, you have without knowing none of the fucking details, you just instantly. So I came to New York during that time. So it was, and then learning the story about this. That was a crazy time.
And who'd you play in that series?
So
is that a Netflix series?
It's on Netflix, yes. But I played the intake officer, or basically one of the officers in the jail, correction officer, who specifically had the most interaction with Corey Wise. With the Corey Wise.
And did you have to emulate someone or not really?
No. I mean, the details of that were, I sat with Ava a couple of times. We discussed a little bit of what was going on, but there's so many stories with Corey Wise. He was like the youngest of the guys, of those Central 5 guys, and he had like just the hardest, childhood and upbringing out of all of them. He actually was like, he wasn't even there during the original situation or the events. He actually walked back into Central Park afterwards to accompany a friend and got roped into the shit. He wasn't even with those original kids. So there was just a lot of details that Ava shared with me. And then, this relationship was sort of weird because it wasn't sexual in nature, but it was still abusive. And it was just, this guy really tried to like take advantage of Corey and own him. For what reasons, I don't know. Because again, he was like a very sheepish and quiet. He grew up deaf in one ear. A lot of people don't know the details. So he had a speech impediment and he got abused because of that. So there's all these details that went into like the development of that character, I just felt like, man, just write it.
Yeah.
Just
go for it. Yeah.
It's like, what would the most abusive person in the world that you can think of do, knowing he had all those advantages over this other person?
Right.
And just fucking.
Right. Was that hard to get into or not?
Knowing the opposite of that,
Right.
knowing how nurturing, and I was already a father and
Right.
caring, and how much I thrive on like interpersonal, knowing that the proposition of when I'm doing well and I know that someone else is doing well, like
Right.
that is complete fucking opposite of
Right.
what this other person needed to do. So yeah, I knew the opposite of that, and I knew how far I can go with that one. So just go the other way.
Right. You know, you could go there.
So it is hard.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough.
The short answer is hard. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it is
I
hard.
know what you mean. Like I've said this before on here, like not to get into acting nerd stuff, but like we have everything in us, whether or we know what that is. So it's just turning up that knob and turning
Choices.
everything else down.
Choices,
Yeah.
choices,
Yeah.
always choices.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I think I'm entering a stage in my life where I've had enough experience now to kind of like, I don't like giving advice,
Right.
but I like to be introspective about what I do, and so I keep telling myself, choices, bro, choices.
Right.
You have being closer to the other side than being born. It kind of gives you a perspective of saying, wow, bro, like, don't waste it.
Right.
Don't waste the opportunity. So, you got to make decisions and you got to make good choices if you can.
Do you feel like acting gets easier as you get older, or not really?
I
That's
think
for us because we hope it does. No.
I mean, there's so much into this business that's I tell you this, I do enjoy the fact that you can be spontaneous with
Right.
and your spontaneity is going to be informed by whatever stage you are in your own life, right? So I think that the opposite of that is to like overthink things is a lot worse than just being spontaneous to a certain degree, logically.
Right.
Conscious of the story, because it isn't your story, right? I mean, it's not.
Right.
Most of the time, unless you write your own shit. But that's what I like about it. And I think that the older you get, I mean, it's getting a little clearer.
Right.
It's getting a little clearer. And then afterwards, you may deal with less buyer's remorse, if you will. Like,
Right.
But I think it doesn't really change that much other than the range of those emotions being maybe less because of your own lived experience. That's
Yeah.
it. I think.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
That's
so-
what I'm finding.
So when did Power happen? When did you get the
dude.
call?
So
and-
yeah, so Power came around.
That was right after the Central Park 5 show you did?
It's like shortly after that, about a year after that, after When They See Us came out, all right, I'll bring this up because I think I could. I actually went in and I read for Power Original.
Oh, here we go. Who'd you read for?
So Antonio Ramos's character, and I even think I might have read for Tommy first. And then it was like it was a downgrade. Like obviously that wasn't even a callback. But it was like Tommy, and then it was like the Antonio Ramos character who I forget. Luis Antonio Ramos's character.
Yeah, was it Ruiz? Was that who it was?
Perhaps. And then after that, it was Cabeza. It was like he's a pretty diesel. He's Puerto Rican. He's from the Bronx, too. I forget the fucking actor's name. I should have reviewed this before I came here. But it was 3 different characters. And never panned out. Never panned out, obviously. I probably gave some bullshit-ass fucking read. But then years later, when this came about, I also did not read for Lorenzo at first. I read for another character.
Who'd you read for?
I would tell you, it's just that I don't want to minimalize or because, it ended up being another character in the series that actually did not pan out because it wasn't Lorenzo. But the great story about that is that I left the room and Anthony Hemingway and Bart were in the room. I had already tried out. I had already read with Anthony in the room 3 other fucking times.
Damn.
One of them was Get Christy Love, which is also a show that Corny wrote.
Yeah.
And so I remember walking in there and I've never gone to an audition where you could actually give a hug to the casting.
You
know, like it just felt completely fucking comfortable. Like there was no doubt that I was going in there. I was solid. I was good.
Right.
But you know, I remember vividly that right around this time, I was able to kind of say, I wasn't holding on to stuff after you leave the auditioning room. I was just going in and spilling my guts, and the rest of the day was the rest of the day. That felt good, but as I'm leaving, I get the call. My agents called me and they were like, listen, so that didn't work out. Don't worry. How would you like to play Perhaps? What do you think of the Monet, who was played by Mary J?
Right.
They're looking to cast a husband. Would you mind preparing for this? That was the initial conversation. I was like, no, I wouldn't mind. Do I go back now or when do you? And then it became, listen, they're really considering you. Would you do it? I'm like, yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay, that sounds really good. And in a span of 6 hours, it became, I was like, yeah, you got it. So it's you. And that's how that
6 hours.
That's how that came about. But it started with something that was not for me, not at the time. And you know, ironically enough, that happens all the fucking time.
All the time. See, that's why it's not even like really that big of a deal. It's like people read for other roles and they go, oh, this person fits better in this. It's not. Most of the time, it's not even a testament to really your acting skills. It's just kind of, if you're in the room, you're good enough, most of them, and then they're like, oh, does he fit this character well enough?
And to be honest, more often than not, you go in for something that's bigger, right? Like, for example, my original Power series story.
Right.
And then you do something that you don't quite win that, but they say, oh, okay, that guy could...
They keep you in mind,
But in this case, it was like, okay, well, this is not going to work. Let's just go with this one.
Right.
And it's been, I mean, it's, what can I say? You know, I mean,
that's
the fact that Anthony was in that room, I have to say, and I told him this much in text, because I've not even been able to thank him in person, is like, and I've already told Bart, because I've had the opportunity to work with him and he directed me a couple of times. It's like, that moment changed my life forever.
Right.
Even if I don't ever fucking end up working again, whatever happens going forward, for a moment in time, I elevated myself to another level. And the reason why I did that is because I felt the comfort that you normally don't get. You know, it's a chance situation. It's not always, but the fact that you and Anthony were in there, changed everything.
Yeah, we speak very highly of Anthony. He's a goat.
You gotta love Anthony though.
Yeah,
you gotta love him. Especially if you worked with him. There's no way you don't.
He's a beast, man.
There's no way you don't love Anthony.
He's got the eye, man, and
that is what you call an actor's director.
Yes,
he'll help you do every
and you know what?
emotion.
The company he keeps, Eve and Bart and all of them. I mean, it's just it's
season one.
Otoño.
Hernan.
Yeah, Hernan's our guy.
Sorry,
I just said that.
That's a singular name.
Hernan,
so the company Anthony keeps, like, you know, every
And Hernan's an avid listener.
And Hernan, talk about it like an actors, directors. Like most of them, Hernan he was my first director.
Well, he started off as a DP on Power.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then I think he DP'd my first episode of Power season 5, and then he's just such like a warm guy, and you just get comfortable with people, and then you can work well with them.
Yeah, I mean, and the comfort just comes from someone understanding that, you know, listen, you read the script, I read the script. This is what I see. You're in a major production office, and the writers are there, and there's all this ideas that are being shared, and this is what they want.
Right.
And you hope that you can interlace that in the moment when it's the actor doing that, because we don't get the benefit to be in those rooms.
Right.
We get a table read at best, and maybe a couple hours, you know what I mean? But the fact that you can somehow interlace that, or you get a director that can find the way to perhaps coerce that performance out of you, without kind of letting you know that was the initial idea anyway. You know, like, there's tricks, you know what I mean? And that's the part about these guys that I love. That, I mean, I hope that at the end of the day they got what they wanted, and it was because of that, because they were able to kind of like draw that shit out of you.
Yeah,
by keeping their own jobs, right? I mean, they have to answer to who they have to answer to, but they have to get something out of us as well.
Yeah, directing's hard. Sorry, go on,
like guiding you to get you to where they want you to go. They don't make you feel like you're completely missing the whole entire point either. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't make you feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not doing, like, they don't make you feel less of yourself. They just be like, yo, listen.
Try this or try that. And there's different ways you can go about that. But when you can get someone to think, it's like the psychology that I'm using with my kids right now.
Actors or kids?
I mean, listen, honestly, dude, especially girls.
Right.
13 and 14, I have to make them think that what I'm saying to them is coming from them anyway.
In what way? Explain.
Dude, you try to tell these children, 13 and 14, especially girls, what to do, you'll never get them to do it.
Yeah.
You will never get them to do it. In fact, they'll build resentment.
Yeah, they're going to do complete opposite.
They're going to. So what you have to do in order for them not to like step in shit majorly, you have to try to get them to do what you want, but you got to make it look like it was their original thought.
Right.
Not mine, not daddy or mommy. And I'll be honest, I'm saying this because this is part therapy today. I have to learn to get better at that because it's not easy, man. When you're emotionally involved, it's hard.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine being a parent.
No, yeah, it's fun.
I gotta start wearing Trojans. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey. Wear those jimmies. Wear those jimmies. or get really good with your timing. Either or, man. You just gotta be extremely
Fight
good.
temptation.
Don't be selfish.
But yeah, no, directing's hard because it's actually funny because I was weirdly walking down the street at a coffee shop and I saw Keisha Sharp, who everyone will meet season 3. She plays
Love her.
the new professor. I forgot her character name. Whatever it is, and we haven't even been introduced yet, so it's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah, I don't even
but
remember
her name's Keisha Sharp. She directs more than, like, she's had a huge acting career, but now she's so busy directing. She was doing All American, she was doing something else, and I talked to her. She had this big notebook. I could see she was like going like this at the coffee shop, and I went up to her to say hi. I could tell she was saying something. She was so sweet, so nice, and I was like, "How is it?" And she goes, "It is so much work."
Yeah.
And you don't think about it. You got to get a shot list. You got to deal with every
scout every
actor on
location
set.
as well, too.
Every location,
You got to
like,
make sure it's good for sound. You got to make sure, bro.
it's hard.
It is this is the this is the connector. This is the connector between. It's all creative,
Right.
He is as much an artist as everyone's an artist.
course.
You know what I mean? That's artistic what he's doing, but
Right.
he's also, he's connecting these two
Right.
completely different things. The
And he's literally
concept,
just bringing words from a piece of paper to life. Like,
so conceptual versus actual, actual. You know what I mean? And
Right.
blending those two together.
Right.
I mean, and I think for a lot of us, I'll be honest. I know I speak for myself when I say this. I would eventually like to get there, just so that I could kind of like look back at my own body of work and say,
Right.
oh my God. So, and also when I get there, I think that it's gonna inform me as to how I'm gonna treat actors and treat writers.
I
and
definitely want to direct. I think I want to direct an episode with Michael.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Co-direct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of the things
that
in
would be
Orange,
crazy.
yeah. One of the things in Orange, a lot of those main actresses got to come back and
It's weird because I think our show just has so many people involved that every year one of those people gets an episode, which they deserve.
Of course.
Like, I don't think as an actor I should just say, hey, I'm an actor on the show, I should be able to direct. But I just wish they were a little more open to having an actor come in. And
G, ironically enough, I think that most, a producer like Courtney and Mark and 50 and these guys, these guys would be I think they would be.
I tried last season. They wouldn't even let me scout.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is. Maybe
I still have hopes that, season 4, season 5.
Yeah.
You've been able to deliver for 3-4 seasons.
Right.
This didn't happen, for example, in Orange. This didn't happen to season 5.
Later
or 6,
in the season, yeah.
That
makes sense.
And now you're banking on an artist who's actually delivered for you consecutively for 3, 4, 5 years. And now you're asking for this opportunity. I'm sure you will kind of those no's are seeds too.
Right.
They're all seeds. And so maybe the persistence. And we're nothing if we're not persistent.
Right.
Could lead to something like that.
I think I asked Brendan if I could scout with him, and I think Woody already asked too. So they were like, too many people are asking. I was like, fucking Woody. Woody fucks my damn and Kane.
No, listen, man. Once that's the blessings that we have. Once we're in this position, you really can. All relationships, and you make it what you can, you know? It's amazing.
How do you love working with Woody, huh? Because you don't really have any scenes with Mike season 1 and 2.
I gotta say, favorite episode was the fucking 10. Because I finally, and we got to jive. We got to jive with each other a little bit because there was a lot of bones to pick that Lorenzo had. A lot of bones Lorenzo had to pick.
I didn't know how Tariq should have felt walking past Lorenzo after that whole shit happened. After he popped McVay, I'm like, "Are you good?" He's like, "Nah, he's good. Get up out of here."
You were slapping his daughter.
Yeah,
you were doing a lot. Things.
I was doing a lot. I got in between the family. I was doing a lot.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was fun. So I mean. Where were we?
Working with Woody.
I was just diving completely. I went back to the warehouse.
No, that's all this podcast is. We just talk about what excites us, and that's why there's no script. Like we literally.
So what excites us was. It started with the kids. So the interaction for me coming on board here was with the kids, and then I got to say, I mean, shit. Having to share a set with Mary J. Blige, that
unreal.
And I mean, I'll be honest, man. Like, I had to get over that starstruck nonsense real quick.
You had to kiss her and stuff. Like,
well, yeah, there was stuff that was called for. Like, I mean, there was intimacy involved, and you leave that behind, and she's the queen when you leave. Right now, we're sort of equals.
Yeah, you have
in the most respectful of ways.
Right.
We're just thespians, and we're acting, and we're working. What a dream to be able to kind of share the space with an artist of that caliber, but kind of like in this world.
She's interesting because she's come on the podcast, obviously, and she talked about how that's what she likes about acting, is that she's not Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, she gets to forget about her music.
She gets to forget about it,
To be a whole completely different
and this, this season, and I think, I feel like, of course, once I got over my own little, fears and being starstruck, I think that she, that's the one thing that it started off slow, but once, thankfully, she kind of opened up, and it was through the work, always through the work.
Right.
I think that one of the things that she appreciates is the fact that, hey, just go with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, a license to say, I'm not married right now.
Right.
Because I'm sure she knows the effect she has on people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We all know.
Yeah.
But I'm not married right now.
Right.
And I owe her that.
Yeah.
I owe her that. I can't go in there and fuck up scenes with her because I'm too, starstruck to just do the fucking work. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I really, really appreciate that about her. And it took, we got to share more screen as the more episodes I got to do. But the original, I started out with the kids, and then it got more interesting with her. And the story is, I mean, it's those two.
Yeah.
Insane.
Lorenzo and Monet do not. It's like this marriage that ideally is supposed to be working, but it's
can't.
Power struggle.
Right. That's the best part of the show.
Thank you. It's the best part of the struggle. I mean, everyone has their struggles. Everyone's struggling for power. You two, the relationship between you two guys, started out as a symbiotic thing, but now you're gaining, you're gaining on his, and he checks you a little bit. You know what I mean? They're brilliant, man. Courtney, you're listening, right? I mean, I think, I've been reading a lot about what's going on.
That's real.
I read the scripts.
I read all the scripts. I don't just go to my pages. I read every single. It really is. It's beautifully done.
Yeah, that's kind of how I got close to Mary this season too. Like through the work, like she makes you laugh, you make her laugh. You see her on set, and she just like opens up. So I just can't wait for everyone to see this season. Like it's gonna be
Mary on
fucking.
set.
Yeah,
she's the best. Because it's just like something you don't expect. That it's like, damn, she's so cool. She's so chill.
Right.
It's like, damn, this is really Mary.
Feels like we're all kind of diving in this thing together. It's like you don't think of like a 40 or 30-year music,
Legend, icon. Yeah.
You just think of someone that's just an actor with you. She's here to work just like you.
Right. What was your favorite scene in season 1?
So, man, season 1 had some real good highlights, but I have to say that there's a scene with LaToya in the jail when she comes to visit him. I think Brendan directed that one.
Brendan directed episode
season 1. But 8 or 9. It was 8 or 9, and then the Woody scene in the jail.
Yeah. Oh, I got to witness that.
But not the confrontation, but it was when he comes into the jail, and that was one of the other things we talked about in the car. Is like he has to speak Spanish, and I'm a native Puerto Rican Spanish speaker. the sentiment behind those words and what he was saying to Lorenzo at the time, like in the visit, that was one of my.
Right.
That was really.
Right.
That was a highlight for me.
What about season 2?
You know, oh man, that season 2, episode
Season 2 is
10.
a lot.
Oh yeah, 210. Fuck, you can't.
And I'm only look. I know people say this, and it's not cliche. It's true. Like every fucking time I work, it's a privilege, and it really is. I loved us, and I loved not just you, but it was like because then there was something new. It's like we're in the work for the first time. Lorenzo is interacting. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I have my kids with me, and then there's this deal going on with me, and you're like, and then it's an adversary who I kind of don't really want to be dealing with. So there was a lot going on there, and then the other underlining things with the wife, the kids. Right. So that, but dirty motherfucker.
Sorry,
but that work, that scene that we did, the work that we did in the shooting scene with Zeke when Zeke gets in.
Oh, was that hard? Is that heartbreaking,
dude? And I think that it felt great because, I mean, it's like I walked around and the way, and then the guns, obviously, the working with guns, and it came at a time when it was, that whole fucking mess had happened with Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? And
I have thought about that this season. I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
Because you're kind of blaming him. It's like, if you've ever been on a set, it's like, how do you blame someone? They give it to you, and this is what you're supposed to do.
So
like,
I remember shortly after that, we had the premiere, and that was like the fucking question that everyone was asking. It's like, you know what? My experience, truthfully, has been, I've never been around more professional people dealing with that.
Like, yeah, our show is really good about that.
I just have not been. I never even thought that the level of professionalism could be that high.
Nah, it's literally never been this incident where we have guns on set and they're giving it to someone and they don't turn the flashlight on.
No, dude.
Check it, the barrel, check the magazine, everything.
But also, there should never be a real gun on set ever.
I mean,
but those
the
are
guns
details.
that we use are real, though. It's just
but they're real. But everything's taken out of them.
And then the rounds,
the fire, and what you're shooting isn't real. There's no possibility.
If they're functioning, the bullets that we shoot.
Yeah, there's no possibility of any of that.
Right.
I mean, look, you wouldn't put it to someone's face or chest but it's just so we're spoiled in that way. So all that stuff was going on, and just the creeping around, the way that scene was shot, the way how we kind of like did it backwards, where we were like doing all the smaller stuff first in the car, and then we worked our way back to like Lorenzo entering the hangar, and like that was the longest day, notwithstanding the fact that it was a long ass fucking drive as well, but
that was like a
3-hour drive to get out that day for me especially. Yeah. But that day, we went on till like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah, like sometimes it happens.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it's my favorite part.
I have no complaints. I mean, it's like when you're tired and bored and you're like, oh God,
I love night shoots.
That's when I love night shoots as well.
I like getting to work at 6 o'clock and leaving at like 6 a.m. That's my favorite.
So my family always asks me how long are your days, and I tell them 12 to 15 hours.
Right.
Yep. And they
12
like,
to 15
what?
hours.
Right.
They're like, what?
Every day.
And yeah, you know,
damn near every
very
day.
lucky to do what you like to do, because there's not a lot of people that would put up with only people that love what they do would put up with 12 to 15 hour fucking days.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Right. Did you have scenes with Daniel Sanjata or no?
I had that was my other favorite one when they first meet.
Oh, right.
When Mecca and Lorenzo meet.
Did you guys hit it off or not much?
So here's the thing. I had met Daniel so many years ago.
Right.
On
Rescue Me?
Rescue Me, bro.
Did you do it?
I did Rescue Me. And I played a fucking janitor in Rescue Me. And Daniel was big time. That's his show.
Yeah.
It was he was a regular. And I met him, and, you know, obviously reading and all the virtual, and we couldn't wait to meet. Finally, we just fucking hit it off.
Dude, we
just hit it off.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was like, oh shit, did they like have... He is I literally just went to the UFC fight with him last weekend. He's the nicest human being I've ever met in my entire life.
He is the truth, bro.
Yeah.
And he keeps it 100 too. And you know, Antonio from Raising Canaan and I had words at the premiere, and other times I've interacted with some of the other cast, and, you know, as a young Latino man, he said that I inspire him in some way, which is, I don't hear that from people. I really don't. And it's weird to hear that kind of stuff, because I don't ever consider that.
Right.
For whatever it is, I aspire to have a career like Sunjata has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is the kind of work that I envisioned, first of all. That was as a New York actor, you don't dream about, like, you know, having your own fucking movie one day.
Right.
You just want to have a show. You want to be a regular. You want to make a living.
Right.
And that can be just like that guy.
Right.
And that would be, and not only that, he's had great stage hits too. And I mean, the guy.
Yeah, his episode, he talked about everything he did. He'd take me out.
He did Take Me Out, bro, and you've read that play, you know,
Yeah.
balls. You know the character he played.
And
That's
he got
balls.
naked on stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Balls.
Yeah. We had a conversation because I asked him, because obviously, like, to bring it back to what we were talking about before, like an actor, nowadays we have brands, we have social media, we have this, we have that. And to me personally, that's all money and security to get myself to do another job.
Yeah.
For me personally.
Yeah.
Other people like, and no shade, like other people like do other stuff. For me personally, I like building business so I could just continue to be able to support myself so I can get to the next job for acting.
Of course.
Do this and do that. And sometimes you, in your head, you're like, I gotta be huge. I gotta be Wahlberg. I gotta monopolize everything. I gotta have gyms. I gotta have this and that. But you have a conversation with Daniel Tejada, and why I love him so much is he literally is just so happy to work. He'll just go to set. He'll be on a show for 6-7 years, and then that's it. And then I'm like, well, what's next? He's like, whatever comes in.
Yeah.
And then he just goes to the next show.
Yeah.
He does Power for a few seasons or for a season. He loves it.
Yeah.
That's it. Now he just did a Netflix show. He's happy just going from. And sometimes I get caught up on myself. I'm like, well, if I'm not taking advantage of the moment and then turning this into this, and this,
monetize. Yeah,
I go fucking crazy. But I sat across from him at dinner after the UFC fight, and I said this to him, and I'm like, it's so noble. Like I wish I could just do this. And we just had a great conversation.
Well, I mean, dude, it has to do with a little bit with age. You know, you're younger.
That's true.
And you should have that fucking balls out mentality. Right. You should be going 120 fucking miles an hour all of the fucking time. And as an older man, I still aspire to have that.
Right.
And in between all that, there's all these lived experiences that we have, which you'll get to. But I think that's what it teaches somebody that's a little bit older, right? And when you can dive and do this just for the value of the work and just to have what you do be the most important thing.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with building what you've built. I'm proud to say that not only am I castmates, but we're friends. This creation, this whole thing, that's all part of this business. You know, we have social media now. That guy has lived through the times and has done this work since before.
Right.
Fucking Instagram.
It was on a hit show before there was any social media.
And what did he have to go by?
Right. The work.
His fucking work.
Right.
How did he build his following? How did he build his propensity to be able to continue to work?
Right.
Doing work.
Just the work.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you take anything, I mean, it is noble. It is noble to sort of continue to have that kind of mentality and that approach to the work. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I don't know a lot of painters that sit in front of a fucking canvas and put 25 lights and 3 cameras to watch what they do as they paint. Do they do that?
No.
No. How many musicians start out like that? I mean, or do they sit in a fucking room with their guitar, their piano, whatever and they just sing to themselves?
Right.
They don't have cameras filming themselves as they do the session. You know what I mean? They just do it for them.
Right.
For them. And hopefully they can sell that to somebody else. And that's our work, man.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with blowing up and doing all this other stuff, which we live in a, you know, this is amazing. But I think at the core, that's what should drive.
Yeah, I guess that, to end that is I said to him, I was like, you look so happy and you're content when you come to set and you're at work. And sometimes I am, but like I won't take it for granted, but I'll go, oh, cool, like this is in the bag. Like this season's in the bag. I already know I'm doing this season. What else can I do on set to, like social media, what else can I post clips for this and that? And sometimes I'm like, I want to put that away and I just want to be happy and content. I don't know if that's the right word because I never want to be content, but I just want to like be happy in the moment more, like Daniel.
I think you are. I mean, from what I've seen, no judgment, but you look, all of you, I mean, every one of us, I mean, first of all, we're like, you know, who's not happy ever working on the set?
Right, yeah.
But I think the components to what's making you happy are, those components that's what's trending now. And you're living in that moment, and especially at where you're at, you know what I mean? Why not?
Right.
You bring those components in because you can, man, you know? I mean, I think it's wonderful, dude.
Yeah.
But over time, nobody can really tell you. That's something that you on your own will experience that, and over time you'll develop your own. You'll stay motivated, or what's the other one? It's not you're not always going to be motivated to do work, but just get used to the routine and get used to doing it. You know what I mean?
I need you in my life more, man.
I need you in my life. I need to be around. To be honest, nothing against. But I'm around women all the time, dude.
Yeah.
My wife and my 2 daughters.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Jesus. But it is nice. It is nice to be able to have, like, I wouldn't categorize it as a manly conversation, but just, dudes, just dudes.
That's why you like cars and shit. Like, I no more dolls.
We could open that one up soon. And I told you, man, we should take that drive, man. We should take that drive up to Taconic, man. We'll go up 9th.
I'm with it.
We won't do the throughway because the cops
getting my new wheels. I'm actually going to put my new wheels on today. My shits are bent a little bit.
Yeah?
So like a little,
yeah.
I got some new ones.
I got some new ones. I put mine on sale on eBay and somebody bid.
Oh.
So.
Wait, what car do you have right now?
The M4.
Oh, you have
M4.
M4. Woo!
Yeah.
G82?
No, I almost.
The F82.
F82.
I love that. I ain't gonna lie. I like the F82 originally more than the G82.
I mean, dude, that's a sentiment.
The G82 just performance-wise right now is just.
And the thing too is that for the purist, that 6-speed for me is always.
Oh, you got the manual.
Yeah. And I waited. And waited. But listen, you've obviously driven the SMG, and let me tell you,
it's crazy.
It's crazy.
The first car I actually ever test driven was an F82 M4 CS. I swear.
Bro,
first car I ever test driven was an M4
and
CS, F82.
This is a twin turbo vehicle, bro. You know that this car is like 440 fucking horsepower, like out
to the rear
out
wheels.
of the bag,
to the rear wheels.
The rear wheel. So
and the car is light as fuck.
And the car is not that heavy, and it's balls, man. This car gets sideways if all the controls that you have nowadays is very hard. But I mean, I'm still, man. It's a year and a half in, and I'm still like.
Yeah, that traction is easy to lose.
Yeah, I don't turn that shit off often. Like if I know I have a lot of room and I'm in there's no light posts or anything like that around me.
Ready to gun it.
Perhaps. But the speed. I love the speed, man. And to control something like that, it's. I don't think I'd do it on a bike, but in a car.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I like speed too much for me to be on a bike.
Yeah.
Because you can go too fast on a bike too easily.
Yeah.
Like, I'm scared of myself. I'm not scared of a bike. I'm scared of myself on a bike.
I on a bike. My father was a dirt bike racer in Puerto Rico, and we grew up with dirt bikes, and I tasted shit. I fell off that dirt bike hard.
So you grew up in Puerto Rico?
I grew up partly in Puerto Rico, and then here. I came to the Bronx. I came from Queens first, and Bronx, Throgs Neck.
Damn.
Yeah. So when I came here, I got my, where the Trump golf course is right now in the Bronx? Those used to be, that used to be an open, just an open field.
Like dirt field?
We used to call them the dumps. That's what it was. It was the dumps. You go back there and you do whatever. But then, you get a group of guys, 4 or 5 dirt bikes, maybe more, and you start kind of going around a circuit. Surely enough, you rip up the dirt, you loosen the ground, and then a couple of weeks in, you got a track.
Right.
Fire.
And then you make your jumps, and then so that area back there was where we would ride dirt bikes. Yeah, we were under the Throgs Neck Bridge, under the Whitestone Bridge. It was, but I fell once, dude.
I'm more of a quad ATV guy.
Oh no, they're fun. They're a lot of fun too.
Yeah,
Two wheels for me. It's just too easy to go fast.
And going from dirt bikes to 4-wheelers, so when you're on a dirt bike, you put your leg out in turns.
Yeah, on a 4-wheeler you gotta lean.
You cannot.
It's none
in
of
fact, you go opposite. You know what I mean? Right. You lean and you kind of let the machine do the work. That's why I never got into, because I had already ridden too many years, and to get on 4 wheels. I mean, I've seen, how many broken ankles and scraped up.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I had a 4-wheel growing up. This shit was crazy.
That's a lot of fun.
4-wheelers are lit.
Yeah, if you start on 4-wheelers, it's great.
Right.
I have friends who were amazing. The crazy shit you see now with the wheelies, they were doing that stuff. But yeah, no, it's a good way to learn how to control speed, because motocross is what they say is control chaos.
Right. It really is.
And it really is.
Have
you ever been to a motocross event?
I've seen a few. Supercross, motocross, I've seen a few, yeah.
That shit is lit.
Yeah.
They used to have mad motocross games and shit.
I'm old enough to remember bikes when they were 2-stroke. Now they're different. Now they're 2-stroke bikes. And they got electric ones coming out too. So
the electric bikes is gonna be
250s, 500 cc's. I mean, it's insane. That's how old
my boy got a 750cc. 750cc Raptor, like a ATV Raptor. That shit
that shit is it's a lot of power. Bro.
That shit is lit. Oh my god, it's a
lot of power.
I was like, nah, I can't even fully Press this shit.
He started
No, you don't
Cars
have
and
you
dirt
don't.
bikes,
Nah,
Michael
here we go.
Put
The
stuff.
podcast has now gone off the fucking rails, and we're now going to talk about little kid toys and fucking all kinds of other stuff. So, that's great. Yeah. But you gotta
have
it's a
fun.
full life when you have these experiences.
Right.
I think.
You gotta have fun, man. You gotta
Yeah.
have fun.
I agree with that.
You know
Going
what I
fast
mean?
is
That's why we're going to Europe, and I'm going to Europe in a couple weeks,
I'm coming.
and we're linking up.
We should link
I'm
up.
coming,
And another
man.
thing you gotta do is you gotta surf. We gotta come to the Jersey Shore.
Oh, I'm in with that.
Okay, we'll start with the longboards, maybe a stand-up paddle.
Yeah.
Finally, I could get Michael to start doing some white people shit. Michael, we're going surfing. We're gonna play some.
We
we're
can surf.
gonna play croquet. What's that?
Hey, we went to the NASCAR shit.
Yeah, we are going to NASCAR. Yeah, we went a couple weekends ago.
Oh yeah, we did. We did. This is
Actually, that is the whitest thing ever. NASCAR's the whitest thing ever.
So you would put that down for the whitest thing I've ever done?
Yeah, NASCAR's the whitest thing you've ever done. All right, let's get into some fan questions and we'll get John out of here.
We got some big.
So Alicia.Sine said, do you have any similarities with your character, Lorenzo?
Yes, I do. Temperamentally, we're very much the same. Nah.
Yeah, you're pretty much.
I think we share the same ideals on family for sure.
Right.
I think Lorenzo, at the core, is just I see him as a guy who was really pissed off. He had to go to jail because of that.
Right.
You don't get into this game unless you know that there's a possibility of that happening. You pretty much take that as part of the risk, right? When you're in that life. But the fact that when that happens, I think that's the biggest effect that you have, is that now you're being separated from what you spend your whole life protecting.
Right. Right.
And then the struggle of having, and if you're running my fucking business, well, how do I get them to make sure that they don't fuck it up? You know, like, I mean, that
He got a little more street when he was talking about Lorenzo. He's like, all right,
because you got to bring that kind of idea. No, but it's that thing that's the main similarity, I think. It's that idea of family at the core.
yeah.
Family at the core. So, and Dub Promotion asks, do you believe your character has ran into ghosts before while in jail? Or anything?
It's an
That was see. I wasn't even gonna put that question, but there were so many people
That's a
asking
fact,
that.
that's
So
a
I'm like, I'm curious. Maybe the writers haven't breached on that, but in your mind,
in my mind.
yeah.
So it's weird to not. So my mind is informed by what I've seen, and then it's weird. The writers go back that far.
Right.
Perhaps there was a ghost character that, of course, interacted with ghosts. You know what I mean? Like, there was a passing by, I'm
Right.
sure. And in our own lives,
I mean, being in the life that y'all both live.
Yes,
but yeah,
exactly. In our own lives, how many times you cross paths
Right.
with someone and then 20 years later you meet them down the line and you realize that you've known that person and you've been around that person.
Right.
So in my mind, I think that there was a very big possibility that definitely happened in the past.
I'm in some of the power groups hidden in there.
Yeah.
Because I read some of the stuff for the podcast, and there's a screenshot of Ghost that you've been.
I
tagged in
saw
it?
that one too. There is an action. Is that a video that you're talking about, or
Yeah, it's a screenshot
It's
of
a
a video.
video, and the guy passing by him.
It's like a Puerto Rican guy.
It's
like
a bald-headed dude
Right.
passing by one of the nightclubs.
Holy
that was
shit.
the other part.
Well,
So
there's one in jail too.
There's one in jail. Well, that might have been the one that I saw.
No,
because
there
I've
was
seen it.
one in the original Power that because I think there's a couple of them of like people getting extras.
Isn't it fucking insane?
Right, but there's one in
that
jail that
someone-
it literally looks like you walking by Ghost.
I think that he's being interviewed, and then in the background, that's the one that I saw.
It's
And he's
crazy.
wearing fucking green.
That's crazy.
Right.
He's wearing the
Right,
green.
the green, right.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, so
May or may not be a coincidence, being that the fucking wardrobe is the same wardrobe.
Or they had this plan for a year.
They probably had this.
It's
locked in.
interesting, dude. I mean, it is a power world, so I mean, it's definitely very possible. I mean, logically, you would assume that those guys would have crossed paths.
Right, at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, they both being in the drug game is
That's the
kind of
game.
inevitable.
Yeah.
Right.
In a
And-
way.
And _.dnk said, which actor surprised you the most on set?
So which one most surprised me? I would have to say Michael. You know why? Because there was something that you did that day at the fucking warehouse that you completely brought out your conflict. And it's like what I got clear from you is that you had a fear of Lorenzo, but you were gonna fucking take over no matter what. And there was kind of both things. And in our rehearsal process, we were kind of fucking around, and I know the line was something. I was like, yeah, well, whatever. Like, you had that coming. And I ad-libbed with you. It's like, yeah, well, you fucked my daughter. You had that coming. And it was like, we had a lot of different things going on in that rehearsal process that I was like, well, we can really be flexible here. We can do a lot of crazy shit. You know, look, man, you're like the fucking star of the show. Like, I was a little bit intimidated. I didn't know how far I can take things.
Nah,
you know
we
what I
going
mean?
far with this shit.
And so that was surprising for that reason, because I just felt a legitimate, like, you know, there was a legitimate, like, you know, giving of yourself in that moment.
Yeah, I'm always open to chances.
Always open. But I think it was my own perception of what I can do in that moment because of, you know.
Right.
And so, yeah, that would be. I just didn't want to make it seem like, oh, I'm kissing your ass because I'm on your fucking podcast. But that was a nice moment for me.
That's real.
And I only wish that I would have had more of that freedom and more of that playfulness.
I wish we had some more time, bro.
Yeah,
I wish we had some more time. That little high and by was not enough, bro. I'm like,
but that was good because I felt like, you know, there was just so much tension and so much buildup for that when I finally. That when these two characters finally met, you know, that needed to be, all that shit needed to be exposed one way or another.
Like, you fuck my business up. You fuck my business. So it's like,
you fuck my business. So that was a nice, and it was a surprise only because, again, I was able to kind of just go.
Yeah.
You know?
And then and on top of that, Kane come out. He's like, with Diana. I'm like, oh, I'm about to go meet her. He's like, damn, cold world. I'm like, yo,
Cold world. That cold world.
Wait, was that scripted?
Yes, that cold
I
world
don't remember. It was, right? It was.
That part was.
I was like, bruh. But he
delivered. He always delivers. But man, that was a nice one.
The first time we met it out, I was laughing. So I was like, nah, this nigga.
Mike, that has to be some of the highlights. I'm sure you can unearth that if
Hell
you could.
yeah.
You can probably.
Did you have any unscripted stuff that happened season 1 or 2?
Season 3. I don't think that I had the courage to sort of, but this one, which we obviously can't talk about, but there was a lot of unearthing of new things. Just because, you know, and I think that this is very nice about the people that we work with.
Right.
You know, as a writer, you see something when you're writing something. Mm-hmm. But then when it actually comes alive, there are things that. So there's a through line that's been established, and I'll say it there's been a through line that has been established. There's these types of relationships that have been happening all along.
Right.
And sometimes in the process of delivering this line, per se, you have to be conscious of something that I've already built with this character or with this moment or with this, you know what I mean? And the interactions and how they're going to be. So necessarily, like, if you script something a certain way, okay, that's clear enough, but there's baggage.
Right.
And there's all kinds of shit that we wouldn't say this to each other this way. Can I try saying it like this?
Right.
And so
that happens this season?
That in season 3, there was more of that stuff.
Well, when you come back on, we'll talk about season 3 stuff. I also have to ask you this last question because people got mad last episode when I didn't ask someone this. If you could play any character in the Power universe other than Lorenzo, who would it be?
I'd love to revisit Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy. That'd be dope. Yeah.
That's a crazy
a Latino version of Tommy, I think, would have been really fun too.
Yeah.
Really fun too. I mean, and you know, kudos to Joseph, man. I met him, dude, and I just you don't know what to say to the guy.
Yeah.
What he's done, man. And what he's created. I mean, it's just. Kudos to him. But yeah, no, I think
Gianni hates this part of the episode.
Yeah, that would have been a fun.
Yeah, him and Omari just like
what they do together. I mean, that was. I mean,
listen, it's not the boys.
It's not the boys.
I knew it was
history repeats itself a little bit. Yeah, dude, it's great. No, that would be it. Yeah,
that's fucking awesome. I love you, Berto, as a human, as an actor, as
man,
everything.
Berto.
Thank you
for coming on. We're gonna have you come back on season 3.
Yeah, season 3, we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
When the ghost actors come on, it's like we can't talk about it, but we're gonna unpack everything.
It's like, what can you say? What can you not say? How much are you gonna give away? But
not trying to have nobody at our doorstep.
no, hell no. We want to keep this going.
Yeah, we gotta keep this shit going, man.
Whatever it is, we just want to keep it going.
Right.
However, let the universe continue to evolve and continue to expand.
Right.
Yes.
Plug what you got going on. You have a movie coming. All that stuff. We can replug it because it'll be closer when you come out. But Instagram, socials, all that.
So listen, there's a lot of new. I'm going to Serbia to shoot a film in another week and a half. I'm extremely excited about that. Speaking about deals and brands, this contract is different than before. So I actually, without being able to without talking too much about it, I'm kind of part of what happens in the aftermath of whatever happens in this movie. So I'm really excited about that. Nice. It's not a big deal.
Right.
I wouldn't call myself a producer just yet.
Oh, just yet.
Just yet.
Not
but,
just yet. Maybe in a few months.
Maybe Thank you, Michael. But I'm really excited about that. And
he gonna be a producer on it.
He's actually directing the film.
No. Listen, I think I'll leave you with this. I think it's important for us to kind of be able to be, efficient in both mediums. Shooting TV is not shooting film.
That is a fact.
You proficiently have done that already a couple times. Mm-hmm. And I think in order to graduate to the next level, you have to carry a feature. Right. You have to be able to carry that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And that is what I'm kind of aiming at right now. You know what I mean? So, and the fact that I'm doing this in Europe, the fact that it's going to be 4 weeks in production, it's hard because, once again, I have to rely on my children behaving and my wife kind of like taking all of that on her own.
Right.
But she's a trooper. She's a warrior. She's a blessing. She's my angel. And notwithstanding the worrying, I'm really looking forward to like isolating myself and just being in a foreign fucking country and just doing the work.
See, that's a good guy. He didn't plug his Instagram. He plugged his wife. Yeah. That's a good guy. But follow me at Gianni VP. No,
well, Instagram is Berto Colon, ELBERTOCOLON, because, you have to plug.
There's
the
an underscore at the end.
Gotta plug the brand.
No, not underscore. Just Berto Colon, like the Berto Colon. You know how everybody does the real this and the.
L. But L.
L en español, macho puto, is Berto Colon.
Yes. Where is 22 / Michael Rainey Jr. on Instagram.
Word.
Where is 22 on TikTok. Yeah, I'm here.
Where's 22 vlogs?
Oh, yeah, the vlogs on YouTube. I always forget to plug this.
We going crazy.
Where's 22 on YouTube? Make sure you guys go subscribe. And yeah, the boys got a 100K plaque over here. We try and get a 1 million plaque on the other channel and get another 1 million plaque on this channel after that one. So yeah, go subscribe. Yeah.
At Gianni Paolo. That's it. I don't got anything else. That's it. Michael Rainey Jr., give us one.
Listen, baby. The crew has it, baby. Yes, sir.
The crew has it, and you have it. Thank you, Berto.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you, man.
Sir.